Hi, I'm Craig. That's my brother Brad. Welcome to Weekdays with Craig and Brad.
Life is hard, but you can't give up. Let's have a conversation. Weekdays, we're gonna make it today. Weekdays with Craig and Brad.
Episode 88. Brad, believe it or not,
We made
we
it.
made it.
Yes.
We made it. Mhm.
88 episodes. And this is going to be our best one we've ever done. That I know for sure. I can promise you that. There is no other episode in our history that will top tonight's show. So I'm glad you're tuning in. Real quick, today, March 30th,
Yes.
1988, for our 88th episode.
Uh-huh.
The number one song in the country, Craig. Do you know what it was?
My girl likes to party all the time.
That's got to be your guess until one day you actually get it.
I hope so.
No. You want to know what it was?
Sure.
All right. We talked a lot about Michael Jackson last night.
Uh-huh.
You can pull it up right here. I got it behind me.
Ooh.
Right here. Man in the Mirror. Michael Jackson.
Look at that. Wow.
That's right.
Nice. Can you give me a little man in the mirror?
I'm gonna make a change for once in my life. It's gonna feel real good. Gonna make a difference. Gonna make it right. I always like to do really bad singing whenever I'm not actually singing. So like I like to do this thing where maybe I hold my ear and I cover it, or I leave one open with the headphones so it looks. Gonna make it right. Anyway,
that's awesome.
Man in the Mirror.
Hey, look at this! Look at this wonderful comment here. Pizza Time says, Craig, you were an icon during my teenage years. As an adult, your outlook on life only solidifies my appreciation for you. Hope that didn't sound weird. Haha. Pizza Time, I want to let you know something. Number one, that's incredibly nice. Number two, you're the one. Because there's a lot of people out there that hate me now because I just want everyone to be happy.
Yeah, well, you can't
want
do
everyone
that.
to live their best life, and But Pizza Time, thank you so much. I greatly appreciate that. That's awesome.
Those comments mean a lot. I had a guy write me on Facebook. He goes, "Hey, I saw you play at my college like 10 years ago, and I always liked your music, but he goes, you're my hero right now. I really appreciate you saying what you're saying right now." Wow. I'm like, nice. Okay, thank you. But look, we're not out to be heroes.
No.
We're just trying to have a conversation.
Hey, weekdays. Sorry. So look, this is going to be a really good show. And tonight, actually, we want to do our call-in show at the end of every week. But tonight is a topic that is going to be pretty charged, I think. It's a hot button topic tonight. And I thought we should open it up tonight. If anybody would like to continue the conversation and have a conversation, I want to hear all sides of this conversation, because tonight we're going to be talking about the COVID vaccine passport, that the idea that is being put in place. And there's a lot to talk about here. And obviously, patrons will always get first dibs to be able to call in. So the link to the show will be available here in about 10 minutes or so over at patreon.com/CraigSkits. So if you would like to be a part of the show, you head over there and become a patron. Any dollar amount will get you in. Get you the link. So just support the show in any way possible over at Patreon, and we'll get you in, and you'll be able to find that link in about 10 minutes or so. So it's going to be good. I'm ready to rock. Snorlax, real quick, Snorlax actually had a really good question. It says, do you have to be a part of the show if you're a patron? No, absolutely not. Your support over on Patreon is just a way to keep the show growing and alive, baby. So no, of course not. You can be a part of the show whenever you want if you're a patron. You just have the option to. So yeah.
You're a part of the show just by supporting the show. You're backstage, VIP.
Yeah.
You get to send Craig messages and stuff. Right?
Yeah, absolutely. I respond to them. Say, speaking of messages, hey, guess what? It's time for the YouTube comment of the day. This one coming from Striker 92 saying, y'all forgot Perfect Strangers as we talked about our movies and music and all that stuff. And Striker, no, we didn't, because that show didn't make us. So
Yeah, no. Perfect. Yeah, we did touch on some of the great TV shows, but I'll say this. Perfect Strangers can be a part of the list that made us, because that theme song heavily influenced our theme song.
Life is hard, but you can't give up.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Bum, 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 bum. That was totally Perfect Strangers tribute right there. So it is something. Definitely something.
This is true.
Hey,
But thank you, Striker. Striker, you get 92 points because your name is Striker 92. Congratulations, because you are the YouTube comment of the day. Nice.
Striker 92 sounds like like a soccer team from the 90s, a kids soccer team from the 90s. We're on the Strikers.
I did play on the Strikers.
Did you? Is that why that sounds familiar? In 1992?
Yeah. Strikers 81, I think, was our team name, because we were all born in 81.
Was it really? Wow.
Strikers
Look
is a
at
cool
that
name, isn't it? Right?
Yes.
I think
Strikers.
I think we were white with black shorts and like white.
Wow.
We had white and red on our socks. It was sweet.
What was your soccer team that had blue and yellow?
The Stars.
That's the one I remember.
Yeah, that was like the little kid team, you know.
Mhm.
Man, it was crazy.
Yeah.
It was crazy.
No Strikers though.
Mm-hmm.
Do you remember my soccer team names?
The Bedazzled Jewels.
I wasn't on the Bedazzled Jewels. That was a different team.
No.
I was on the Blues Brothers.
Oh yeah.
And I was on a team called the Flash.
Oh, nice.
Yeah.
Both really quality kid soccer teams names. Absolutely.
Yeah.
Love that.
Hey, speaking of having people on our show, I got into an argument with 18-year-old on Twitter today.
Oh, good.
And
they should be voting.
Yeah. Because I said I had left this sarcastic comment about the rapper Lil Nas. And I was like, hey, yeah, great role model for the kiddos. And I have been getting pounded by Lil Nas fans going, he doesn't do stuff for kids. And I got into the argument and I was just like, I go, hey, why don't you come on the show sometime? And if you want to keep this conversation going. So we'll see. I really want to get one of these kids on the show one day.
Good.
That's just like, because here's what I did. I go, I said, I really don't care what somebody without a profile picture has to say. And their name was like a bunch of numbers. And so you know what they did? They added their profile picture and changed their handle.
Oh,
and
good.
they're like, there. Oh. And like, I do this stuff to entertain myself. Like, people play apps on their phone, games and stuff. Like, I interact with these people for pure entertainment, just for myself. And I was like, well, I'm glad I could help you push along your Twitter account. The adults won't always be there to help you during these hard, difficult moments. They were like, yo, I just had to fix it up in there. It was funny. But I hope we get them on.
I hope so too. For sure. Yeah, as Indy says, they won't come on the show. They need a crowd behind them. Cowards.
Yeah.
Right.
Hey,
I've met many of those people before.
Yeah. I just, it'll be great. Look, speaking of Lil Nas, I'm getting in the shoe game, Craig.
Oh yeah?
I'm unveiling my new shoe tonight. Now, I studied Lil Nas's Satan shoe very hard.
Yeah, let's do a little recap here real quick before you get into this. You got to explain what happened.
Yeah, so if you haven't followed the news, Lil Nas, the rapper, has released a shoe. Let me pull up a Satan shoe called Satan Shoes, and which Nike is suing him now.
Yeah,
because everybody thought it was a Nike shoe, and everybody was like, "How could Nike do this?"
Yeah.
And so Nike's stepping in now, and they're going, we did not release a Satan shoe. We're sorry to report. So here's the let me see here. You can pull up my screen here. Here was the fine details on the Nike on the shoe. This was a collaboration Lil Nas did with, I guess it's called Mischief. Okay. They released Satan shoes, Nike Air Max 97s, customized with ink and 1 drop of human blood, 666 pairs individually numbered. They were $1,018. They're out now.
By the way, what was the what's the significance of the $1,018? Like, there's got to be something in there that's devilish, right?
I
The
don't
idea
know.
of- right? So,
I don't know.
to be clear, this is a company that took Nike Air Max 97s and then just essentially repurchased them with Lil Nas,
Yeah.
right? And but Nike was not a part of it.
Right. So Nike all of a sudden is stepping in today going, ho, 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 we don't do drops of blood in our shoes.
Oh, it's a Bible passage. Okay, Luke 10:18. Got it.
Oh, right. That's on the side of the shoe down here. So yeah,
I see.
that segment is about. So look, I'm getting into the shoe game. I'm releasing Satan's Nightmare shoes. These are
nice.
worse than just Satan shoes. This is a limited edition shoe-shaped black void. Okay, it's not even a shoe. You can't even see the shoe. It's just a black void.
Oh, wow.
Each void is filled with the souls of 1,000 drowning puppies and endless tweets of 20-year-old social justice warriors who think everything and everyone is racist. They're $666,000, or I'm sorry, $666,666 and 666 cents in Bitcoin.
Just a bunch of sixes.
Yes, and no box. They don't come in a box. Here's a close up of the details of the black void. It has drowning puppies and some of your favorite tweets. You're racist. Cancel it. You're as bad as Hitler. White supremacy. White supremacy is systemic. So that's my shoe I'm putting out on the market soon. I don't have a release date for it, but I wanted to let everybody know it's coming.
Remember, it's not a shoe, it's a shoe-shaped black void.
Right. But it's a shoe-shaped void, but it is going to be for sale on the shoe market.
Yeah. Okay.
It is competition for the Satan shoe in itself.
All right.
So
Nice. I understand. Okay. I like what you're going here. Well, congratulations. Good luck on that.
These are the things that I felt like would be in Satan's nightmares. Only two things, really, because he's Satan. But everybody has a soft spot for drowning puppies. I like to think that Satan does as well. And he probably would get really annoyed with social justice warriors telling him he's racist all day. Those are probably the only two things that could destroy Satan.
I like it, especially the puppy deaths. What?
Yeah, I think there's a good business model there.
Nice. Hey, Krusty Needles came in with Prime for 3 months. That's 7 total months for Krusty. Thank you so much, Krusty. Subscribing over on twitch.tv/CraigSkits. And Com also gifted a tier 1 sub to Reveled98 right there. That's awesome. Makes you say thanks. I'm sure you already have. That's excellent. Hey, speaking of Twitch, if you're watching this and it is Wednesday, I want to let you know today actually is going to be really, really exciting. After tomorrow night's podcast live, Brad, I'm going to be streaming over on twitch.tv/CraigSkits on Wednesday night. I need everyone to be a part of this thing, because if you haven't heard, the best game Nintendo has ever made, Mario 35, a competitive Mario Brothers game, is being taken offline, and I'm going to be streaming it until Nintendo pulls the servers, which is anticipated to be about 4 o'clock in the morning our time. So pretty much as soon as the stream is done, I'm going to pop back over and we're marathoning it out, baby. So make sure you guys join me over there. So
you'll be tired on Thursday night's show.
I'll be exhausted. Yeah.
Okay. Well, you were trying to break a world record with that.
I did.
Right? Did you break it?
I did. I got 73 points in 90 minutes and about 10 seconds.
Wow. Did you get an award for it?
I mean, no, I got told by the Mario 35 community that it's not a real thing and that I'm stupid. That was my reward.
Oh, that sounds about right for the internet.
Yeah, it was good. It was good.
That's great. Good stuff. Well, here we are doing the show.
I'm excited
Our
about
88th.
it. Yeah. So look, like I said, tonight's going to be a show where we want you guys to be involved in pretty much any minute now over at patreon.com/CraigSkits. The link will be up. If you are a patron, you can come be a part of the show. You will get first dibs to be a part of the show. But before you actually join, I would love for you to actually hear the conversation that we're going to be talking about first. So, and how we plan on getting there. First thing I want to talk about tonight is the NFL. Have you heard about the NFL and their plans for this upcoming season? Because today they came out, they had a big press conference, and they're Roger Goodell, their commissioner, who makes $44 million a year being the commissioner of the National Football League.
Mm-hmm, mm-hmm.
Oh my God. Just saying that is insane. Came out and had said that speaking, this is the irony here is amazing. Speaking to reporters after the first day of a 2-day virtual meeting of owners, Goodell said, all of us in the NFL want to see our fans back, see every one of our fans back. Football is simply not the same without fans. And we expect to have full stadiums for the upcoming season. So naturally, people immediately thought, well, the NFL is going to murder people because, they're going to have full.
Yeah.
Yes,
Right.
which is a thing. So, but, the true test of this is going to actually be taking place near us within 20 minutes of us, Brad, in Arlington, Texas, coming up in just a couple days.
Yeah.
Because the Texas Rangers will be opening their season. And guess what?
Mm-hmm.
Full house, packed. So it's
Yeah,
going to be very
sold out?
interesting to see. I don't know if it's sold out or not. Actually,
Yeah.
let me check really quick while you.
So are you telling me that the sports business model of putting cardboard cutouts of fans in the stands isn't working out long term?
Didn't work out. It later on in that article, it said that viewership was from an audience perspective or a sales tickets perspective was down 90%, and revenue was down accordingly. So,
Yes.
Okay,
Yes.
so let's see. I'm looking real fast. I want to see. We're going to look at the. By the way, it's the Toronto Blue Jays versus the Texas Rangers, and we're going to do a quick glance here, real fast, to see what is available at. Okay. Let's do a quick glance here. Here's the Ranger Stadium. And it looks like most of the seating down here along the third base line and the first base line is taken up. Now it looks like there's some seats down here. Looks like there's some seats behind home plate that are still available. So we're not at a sellout yet, but all these up here, you can't click anything up here. These are all available. Now these on the home run porch, $135. Oh, it's all you can eat. Okay. My God.
All you can eat.
So look, and out in the bleachers, the $100 bleachers, that's available. So we're not at a sellout yet, but I'll tell you what, this is quite the capacity here for opening day, especially given everything that's happened. So
I'm confused at what we were looking at there. The light gray was available, the dark gray was filled in, or
no. The dark gray is available. The light gray has been taken. So
so all those nosebleed seats are filled up.
Yes, these are all filled. Anything dark gray is still available here.
You know what I was expecting to see, which I think would have been completely hilarious, was when you pulled this up, if they made each segment, each section of the baseball stadiums, like when you go to a restaurant and they spaced them out, if they had section 102, but then you have to skip section 103, but section 10, we're just being safe with social distancing.
So the funny thing about the Rangers though is that so they are having 2 preseason games that they're gonna attempt to sell out or at least open up, and then they're gonna have the opening game of the seasons, I guess April 5th. They're going to have that as well, and then after that they will have socially distanced seats available for those who want to attend games. So, so I imagine they will do something that.
You just got to stand through the line to get in and then go through the crowd to get to your seat, to get to your socially distanced seat. Right. Of course. Yes. Okay.
Yeah. Pretty amazing stuff.
Yeah.
But that got me thinking with the NFL opening it up, with the Rangers opening up, there's something that has been on my mind a lot the last couple days has been the COVID vaccine passport that people have been talking about. And I heard about this, 3 months ago or something. There was kind of murmurings about it. And now it's becoming more and more of a thing. The idea of you get once you get your COVID vaccine, you then get some sort of virtual app or something that shows that you have got your vaccine. And you know what? You're safe. You're okay.
You're one of them.
Yeah, and that's scary to me. For me personally, that is scary. The idea of having to go to a concert and say, well, okay, look, you can only come if you have your COVID vaccine, if you have a COVID vaccine passport and it's, stamped properly. You can only get on this flight if if you got this done. You can only go to this restaurant. So that's scary stuff. That's scary stuff. The idea that, like, for me personally, it just feels like Big Brother's just kind of stepping in over and just kind of reaching in, and I've never felt this way before. I've never felt this way in my life, and like I said, I am. I was doing a little digging, and I was like, what exactly is a passport? Like, why do we have passports to begin with? Right? Because the term is a vaccine passport, a COVID passport, and so I was doing just a little research, and it's what is a passport? A passport is used to verify one's country of citizenship. If traveling outside your country, it is used to regain entry into your country of citizenship. Passports include a photo, name, birth date, gender, and physical characteristics. So for U.S. citizens, some countries only require a passport for re-entry. Other countries may require a visa before entry. You should confirm if a country-specific visa is required before traveling. And I think from a country perspective, a worldwide travel perspective, it makes sense. So you can keep track of people, right? The idea of, you are a U.S. citizen. I'm traveling to Switzerland. What is your business here? Is the idea of bringing a culture to another land that you're a part of. Whether it's you're traveling overseas or someone from Japan is coming over to Europe or whatever it may be. The idea that this is where I live and I'm going here for this reason. And I understand the idea of having passports. Now, passports were introduced long before computers, the idea of stamping a passport and stuff. So I think they made more sense then. I feel like everybody can be tracked very easily with this thing right now, and is being tracked very easily by that thing right now. But it's scary stuff. For me, it's intimidating. It's very intimidating. Like whether you want to get whether you want to get the vaccine or not, just the idea of having to verify that you got the vaccine is scary. Like, and I don't like that.
So I've seen a lot of comments that are saying papers, please. And that's the first thing that comes to a lot of people's minds who aren't just going to jump on board with it. It's very reminiscent of this phrase, show us your papers, please, which is associated with the Nazi Party. And it's funny because we all jump to the Nazi Party. Everybody's a Nazi these days. Well, guess what? It turns out you're going to need to show some documentation on who you are and what you've done and your background when you go to certain places now.
Well, so it's one of those things where I wanted to know where the papers please idea came from, right? And I asked you to do a little research on that. So talk about that really fast.
Yeah. So according to the reliable source Wikipedia, your papers please, or papers please, is an expression or trope associated with police state functionaries allegedly popularized in Hollywood movies featuring Nazi Party officials demanding identification from citizens during random stops or at checkpoints. It is a cultural metaphor for life in a police state.
Right. So to be clear, like, there's no verification that this is something that the Nazis actually went around and asked. This is just something that was put. It's a metaphor in Hollywood that is used and has become a thing that people have discussed over time, or that's become a common saying in instances like this.
Yes. Now the worry here is, now I had a friend the other day that had posted a meme in response to somebody else. And the meme was basically like, it's kind of like, oh, who's the actress that just got fired from Disney? We did a show on Gina Carano.
Gina Carano, yeah.
She had posted a meme, right, from a picture of the 1940s, and people were like, "Oh, you're racist," right? Well, my friend had posted something similar, and it was basically like talking about how it was basically associating, the show us your papers thing, and he got lambasted as a racist all of a sudden, and that he was softening the idea of the Nazi idea of everything, and it was very bad of him to do it. But here's what I found. I found this article today is from 2017. And it said Americans have resisted adopting a national ID card for a good reason. This was all about ID cards. And as far as I'm concerned, a vaccine passport is another ID card, right? We're going to need it to go into concerts or wherever you want to go. I know New York City is starting to use a passport app and stuff like that. So a national ID card systems have been used before by other oppressive governments in the name of national security, invariably with horrifying results. For instance, in Germany, the Nazis required all Jews to carry special stamped ID cards for travel within the country, a prelude to the Yellow Star of David badges. So I think that's where the uneasiness comes in. At this point, we're all going like, whoa, what comes after the ID card? What comes after the passport? Like, why are you identifying us? You know, I had a friend today that was like, oh, it's not really going to work. You have to have too many employees checking IDs and stuff. I was like, you're totally discounting the idea of technology here. We have facial recognition.
Right.
There's money to be made. There's contracts in the works now. Like,
I mean,
you don't
think you just scan your phone. Boop,
yeah,
there
you
it is,
scan your phone. Like we've got toll roads from state to state. You don't think they can just?
You don't have to slow down anymore. You just speed right through it. You know,
right? Like, are they going to put the passport on our car window dash, and otherwise you get a little ticket in the mail or something?
Real quick, Nick says, I wonder how long it'll take before fake COVID passports will start being made and sold as fake IDs, driver's licenses, sold like fake IDs, driver's license, and passports. Oh, I guarantee there's people already planning that out 100%. And
yeah, that's the other thing. Like, the idea of this app, like, it sounds like, it's easy to brush it off and be like, well, it's just going to be an app or a piece of paper. Well, no, because once people start duplicating it and making bootleg copies of it, what does the government have to do? They've got to make it tougher to replicate. And so then it becomes a more concrete piece of identification, not just a piece of paper you keep in your wallet, right?
Kirsten says, don't some schools not allow your children to attend if they don't get vaccines? How is this any different? I think how you treat a child and how you treat an adult are totally different, right? That's what the government, that's what this situation would do. It would say, hey, I know that you're a mature adult and can you make your own decisions, but you have to do this. You have to do it. I think that's the big difference here, is that, making sure, and especially for something like this, the idea of a just going based strictly off the statistics that are available on the CDC website. Once again, we're 82% of the people who have died are over the age of 65. The mortality rate for those who are young, healthy, fit, that live regular lives is extremely, extremely low. I don't know if that's the same thing. I really don't. Kids are going to get the flu. They're going to get the flu. People are going to get COVID. That's just going to be one of those things. It's just how it's going to be as things move ahead. COVID is here. It's not going to go away. So, like I said, the mortality rate on this thing is so low, and we've learned this over the past year. Like I said, I'm totally on board with the steps that were taken. I think everybody was scared when this thing came out. But we've looked at the data, we've seen the science, and we've learned about who this actually affects. And a case does not mean you die. If you get COVID, it doesn't mean you die. That's just the reality of it.
Yeah. Somebody's getting mad at me the other day, and they were about something that I had said, and they were like, I watched my wife have COVID, and I was like, everybody has a story by now. You're not the only one, but we're all observing it from different perspectives all around the country, all around the world, as a matter of fact. So, like, it's not just your story. So you can't just blanket it all.
Once again, if you feel strongly about this, if you feel like that people should absolutely get this, please let us know in the chat. I would love to hear your perspective on this. This is an open conversation. No one's going to be upset with you for voicing your voicing your opinion. We just want to know. I want to learn about your perspective, and I hope that you want to learn about my perspective. That's what
Yeah.
this show is about,
Yeah.
conversation. But this for
Yeah.
me, legitimately, it's been weighing on me a lot. It has put me in a bad mood. It's something that's been on my mind a lot, and I it's just scary. It's legitimately scary.
Yeah. Tai, we talked on Facebook, as a matter of fact. Tai's asking the same thing, and I responded to you on there. If you want to pull up Tai's question.
Mm-hmm.
They said, I'll ask what I asked earlier. What is the value of a life versus the value of freedom? I think that's what it all comes down to. I am pretty libertarian in most ways. Smoke, drink, do drugs, buy a gun, etc. None of the government's business. But is it so wrong for the government to ensure safety, not for the individual, but the population at large? Isn't safety of the population the one thing the government should be involved in, be it from war or disease? Now, I've got my response pulled up. So instead of responding right now, I'm just going to read you what I responded earlier in our conversation. I first said, ask a veteran what the value of a life versus the value of freedom is. It's a slippery slope to let the government ensure safety for everybody. They're just people, Tai. And most of them are detached from what real Americans go through on a day-to-day basis. I don't trust anybody with my safety except me and my family. Why would I want people I don't even know, who don't know me, to regulate the safety of my life? Why would you want this? Uh, where were they with the flu all these years? Where were they with cancer all these years? Where were they with putting certain chemicals in our food that are literally illegal in other countries? At the end of the day, the people in the government are just people doing their job, saying what they need to say to keep their
Mm-hmm.
power. I don't understand why people have a hard time believing that. It was fairly common general consensus for a really long time that politicians and government officials are generally non-trustworthy. Why the change now? And I go on. Like, we're in a situation now where we have to rely on the government, but why are we trusting them so much? Like, why would you put a whole group of people, everybody over there in the government, in charge of your safety? And that would be my question back to you, Tai. Why would you want that? Would you want me in charge of your safety? You don't know me, but I got some good ideas.
I continuously go back to the idea of when we talk about, how much is a human life worth? I I just simply ask it back. How much is your mental health worth? Right? There have been, look, I think everybody has a story about somebody who has had, like, everybody knows somebody who has had COVID at this point, right? Most people, I would like to think, if we've had close to 500,000 people die in this country of COVID, I would like to think that most people probably know somebody who has died, or at least is one degree of separation away from it. I am. But 100% of people who have lived through this in the entire world have been affected by this mentally, emotionally, financially. Like,
Mm-hmm.
just go down the list of every single Lee that you can think of. You've been affected by this.
Mm-hmm.
And while some people physically have not been affected by it, 100% of people have been affected mentally, spiritually by this thing.
Yeah, that's the crazy thing I had an article pulled up by not the beat. You look at everything that's happened in our country, the pollution that's happened, the suicide rates, the drug rates, like the cure has been way more problematic than the problem of itself, it seems like, in my opinion. Because we're
But
losing out on a lot of stuff. We're doing a lot of damage right now in the name of being healthy, staying safe, protecting others.
real quick, I have a few things here real fast. I want to make sure that I want to make sure we mention these real fast. Basement band says, I work in healthcare. Only half of us got the vaccine. I got it, but could care could care if other people's don't want it, right? For sure. Bullcraft says, I haven't seen Bullcraft in the chat, and Bullcraft had mentioned, says yes, they should do vaccine passports, and followed up with, literally people who aren't for the vaccine passport are going to have the pandemic go go on for way longer than it should be. Followed up with, a virus doesn't care about liberties. Okay. More people who have the vaccine, the safer it is. Okay.
Why? Here's the mentality. This was something I saw today. This guy, Harry Littman on Twitter, I took this screenshot, and he said this. I don't know who this guy is, but I found this a frightening statement. Vaccine passports are a good idea. Among other things, it will single out the still large contingent of people who refuse vaccines, who will be foreclosed from doing a lot of things their peers can do. That should help break the resistance down. Isn't that a frightening thing to hear?
Yes, that is absolutely terrifying.
Break down the resistance.
Right.
Listen, if you're of the mind that this, look, I just saw Kirsten.
That's disgusting. Disgusting.
Kirsten, right. Kirsten had just posted something a few comments back that the sooner everybody gets a vaccine, the sooner the world can get back to normal. That's not going to happen. Everybody is not going to get the vaccine, no matter how much you want it. So you got to refocus, because that's not going to happen. I don't care where you are on the spectrum. It's just not going to happen. So regroup your thoughts, because it's not a possibility.
When you look at when you look at COVID, and you look at the overall vaccination rate, right? Let's do some quick digging here based off of this is on Google with the COVID vaccination stuff. There's a lot of information here. I look at this page probably once a day, and this gives you the rundown of the total vaccinations. This is in the entire United States. So 16% of the United States has received one vaccination. 28% have received, or 29% have received. Oh, I'm sorry. 29% have received at least one. 16% have received the full vaccination here, right? Now, when you look at this from an entire world perspective, right? 4% of the world, 4% of the world have received one dose.
Mm-hmm.
Less than 2% have been fully vaccinated. So going back to Kirsten here and saying, the sooner that everybody gets it, the sooner we go back to normal. I mean,
yeah. The problem that I keep seeing in this conversation is that there are people that keep saying, I had a conversation again the other day. Somebody said it was about masks, and they go, "What's so nefarious about?" No, it was about the vaccine passport. It was about this. They said, "What's so nefarious about having to take a piece of paper with you to go do an event or something?" And I said, "What's so nefarious about, I don't know, wearing a mask, 2 masks, 3 masks? What's so nefarious about getting poked in the nose? What's so nefarious about getting an anal swab? What's so nefarious about having to get 2 jabs, and probably 1 or 2 twice a year from here on out, because there's going to be different strands and we got to watch out for it? What's so nefarious about having to close down your business? What's so nefarious about having to take your kid out of school for over a year?" It's so nice of them to space it out like this, so people don't recognize. Like, could you imagine all this happening at once? Put a mask on, get poked, get prodded, take your kid out of school, shut your business down. Like, it's spaced out, folks.
Mike says, just because you got a good vaccine doesn't mean you won't get COVID. We've had people in the neighborhood give the vaccine and still am getting COVID. It's not any different than the flu. The virus will continuously change. So I think that's probably my biggest thing when it comes to Chibi coming in with the anal swab. Chibi, I would love to hear your perspective on this. I really would. And by the way, the anal swab is a real thing. Like, that is a real vaccine method.
If you go to China, you have to get it. If you're coming into China, you're getting an anal swab. That's their way of doing it over there, and it's probably going to make its way over here.
I think for me, there are some questions when, I think there's some questions for me ethically about the idea of having a passport that I have to go around and show people. And, the question that you hear a lot is does this violate HIPAA? HIPAA is specifically in the United States. So HIPAA is pretty much, HIPAA is the Health Insurance Portability and Accountability Act, right? The long and short of HIPAA is that it keeps your your health information private. That's the whole idea behind HIPAA in the United States. And does a COVID vaccine passport violate HIPAA? The long story short, it does not violate HIPAA. And I was watching a video about it, and I just kind of want to point this out because they're doing some verification, and I'll tell you guys why about that here in a second, which is crazy. I see a lot of people saying papers please, paper please. You know, we've talked about that, you know, quite a little bit, but we can kind of recap that as well. But so HIPAA in general, like I said, I pulled up this article, and this is actually from a local source, the Dallas, WFAA. It's our ABC affiliate here in Dallas. Does the vaccine passport violate HIPAA? And this is a transcription of the video, which we can't watch here, but no, it does not. And the reason is that they spoke with a couple, they say 2 experts in the medical law on HIPAA. And what they did was they essentially went to these people and asked them why it would and why it doesn't. The purpose of HIPAA is to protect your sensitive medical information. HIPAA applies when a healthcare provider or insurer receives your protected health information. While your vaccine card is considered protected health information, an airline is not a healthcare provider. Just because you carry around some health information with you in the form of your vaccine card, that information doesn't bring all the HIPAA protections with it. Once again, because they are not a healthcare provider, whether you're going to a club or you're going to an airline. This question for me, though, this next sentence is interesting for me. An airline still has to follow state privacy and identity theft policies. Just going to a Rangers game or a Cowboys game, do they have to do that as well? So for me, it's interesting. The idea is that apparently, since they're not a healthcare, since you're not going to a healthcare provider, it does not violate HIPAA. Now, when you go to a healthcare provider, will it violate HIPAA if you show them your vaccine card? I don't know. I don't know what I'm talking about. So,
yeah. It's crazy. What is your limit? That's something I would ask everybody. Like, what's your limit? Like going to a concert. People are going to concerts in bubbles right now. They're literally having these concerts where everybody on stage was in a bubble playing their instrument, and then everybody in the crowd was in those big bubbles, so they wouldn't contaminate each other. So we're doing whatever they ask us to do, and it's going to be concerts. Then it's getting on the plane, and then it's going to the grocery store. Have you ever been inside a Walmart? You ever been in the self-checkout line? They've got a huge TV right above it watching you. Don't think that it's not scanning your face.
I mean, come on, dude. Let's just be real. This thing is tracking everything that I'm saying right now. I mean, we all understand that. We're all not naive. Okay.
Right. But it's funny that we bypass that idea so much. We're just like, yeah, but really, I mean, like
to be clear, I'm not conspiracy theory guy. I'm just saying that I just feel like there's ethical issues here that need to be discussed when it comes to the freedoms that you have on a day-to-day basis, specifically in America. Obviously, other countries have different laws, regulations. They don't have the greatest document in the world protecting them. So Tai says, imagine if in the 50s no one got polio vaccines. Imagine if no one wanted penicillin. Right.
What was the death rate of polio? Like, what was the risk factor involved in that?
Yeah. So the
what was the survival rate?
Just doing a real quick Google search. The case fatality rate for polio is generally 2 to 5% among children, and up to 15 to 30% amongst adolescents and adults. So I would say that's a pretty big difference between, less than 1% to, with adults, 15 to 30%.
Hold up. Scoop says, wow, there's a COVID flag on the stream. Are we getting flagged right now for talking about COVID?
I don't know. Are we? I mean, there's a huge possibility we probably are. But it's like, it is what it is. If that's the case,
that's crazy.
Yeah. I mean, you can't say COVID. Like, you can't say COVID on YouTube. We've seen the effects of things. Let's see. Oh yeah, yeah. Absolutely. Yeah. There's a COVID thing on us. Yes. get the latest information from the CDC about COVID.
Oh, well, we do have COVID in the title.
Yes, of course. So
Fair enough. Fair enough, YouTube.
no, whatever. That's fine. Gear says, I have a big work trade show in June in Cincinnati. People are done at this point. The world has moved on, but certain people refuse to. Generally, the most miserable. Gears, are you speaking of people who disagree or agree with the idea of, the vaccination, the whole, what do you mean by that? I would love to hear more about that. By the way, Calm gifted a tier 1 sub to Hal. Hal, I know you already said but thank you very much for the support there. And Storlax became a patron, which is great. So,
hey, speaking of baseball and speaking of social media warnings based on what you're talking about, I just wanted to pull this up real quick. I had a friend post this earlier today. Now, Hank Aaron passed away not too long ago. And Hank Aaron had gotten the vaccine and then shortly after had passed away. My friend had posted no autopsy for Hank Aaron. So how do they know he died of natural causes? Now she's just asking a question, didn't even mention vaccines. And Facebook had flagged immediately COVID vaccine, like an uninvited guest butting into your conversation. Hey, I was talking over here. COVID vaccines go through many tests for safety and effectiveness before they are approved. Just wanted to let you know. I didn't hear you say vaccine, but I just want to let you know. I thought that was pretty funny.
That's awesome. Bullcraft comes back, says, I don't know a virus doesn't care about your freedoms. Just take the vaccine when you can so we can be safe. Review Tech USA agrees with me. With all due respect, I don't care what Rich thinks about this. I really don't. I would love to have a conversation with him, but I don't care. Just because someone disagrees with me doesn't mean they're right. Just because I disagree with them doesn't mean that I'm right. This is about conversation. This is not a debate. We're just talking about these things. So,
that's an interesting statement, though, because if the COVID vaccine, the COVID coronavirus does not care about your freedoms. It does, however, care if you're wearing it from the entrance of the restaurant to your table. And then once you sit down, then it cares and it knows to stay away from you while you're eating. Right.
By the way, once you actually stand up, then you need to put it back on because COVID stops once you're
kneeling. It's a very intelligent disease for sure.
Right. It's messy. Like I've used that word a lot. It's messy. This whole situation is messy and it's scary. It's very scary. Okay, so once again, I think now is the time we can open up the conversation. If you are a patron over at patreon.com/CraigSkits, there's a link waiting for you. You can go over there. You can find the link. You can join the show, and we'll do some call-ins on this because I want to hear other people's perspective, whether you agree with it, disagree, whether you're scared, whether you're totally confident with it. I just want to hear your perspective because this show is about conversation. I love hearing opposing viewpoints. Not to try to change our mind or us. We're not trying to change your mind. We're just simply trying to talk about it. So let's do that. If you guys want to hop in, now is the time.
Yeah, Mike Maverick, let's behave ourselves.
Yes, absolutely.
Just chat. It's totally important. Just chat.
Like I don't know. For me, I just look at the numbers on this. I just keep going back to looking at the numbers on COVID. And the biggest number, obviously, is the amount of people who have died, right? That's horrible. And I think we all agree with that. But when you look at the numbers and you say, well, 82% were over 65. And what percentage of those had comorbidities? What percentage of them they had diabetes? What percentage of them died from COVID versus with COVID? Because there's a difference there. There's so many questions. And then the idea of having such a low death rate for people who are below the age of 65, going in and then saying, well, look, now you have to show, your papers before you can go to this concert. See, before you can go watch Lil Nas, or whatever. And the idea, going back to that tweet, the tweet that you shared from that person, I don't know who they were, but just the simple idea of like, well, this will teach them. If they don't want to do it, this will teach them.
Yeah.
It's crazy.
Break the resistance down. What are we in? Star Wars, for crying out loud? Are we in Star Wars where we've got, the dark side and the light side,
Calm
for the United States?
Calm gifted a sub to Health Warrior. Make sure you say thanks.
Oh, very nice.
And Chancho came with 100 bits. Says, says, I don't want to come back on tree, but I just want to say this. I think more people should take the vaccine, but I can't agree with forcing people to take it. Hey, like I said, I think there's nothing wrong with that statement.
That's the most common sense thing you could say, Chancho.
Yeah, right. I think people should take the vaccine. Cool. If they don't want to, they shouldn't have to.
Yeah.
Sounds pretty great to me.
End of story. But what we don't need are, look, I think they're important. It will single out the still large contingent of people who refuse them, and it will foreclose them from doing a lot of things their peers can do. That should help break down the resistance. That's a little excessive to me.
The Maverick, Mike Maverick, thank you so much for the follow. Appreciate that. Welcome. Good to see you. This is Jake says, go to a hockey game, which I really fucking want to when we're able to, but I shouldn't have to get a vaccine. This is brand new technology being used and did not have a long enough period to be tested properly. You know, it's one of those things where like whether I agree with you or not, I understand the hesitation and the thought process behind this. You know, I really do. I totally understand why people would be hesitant in any sort of situation to take a vaccine. I also understand the idea that people would want to get in and move on with their life. But the idea of people just saying, hey, just take it. Just take it. Just get on with it. Just get on with it so we can all move on.
Yeah.
You know, don't question it. You know, disregard that there were issues that it actually got pulled. You know, one of the vaccines actually got pulled over in Europe for more testing in the middle of it being used. You know,
here I have a list of 6 facts, or they're stated to be facts. Here, I will just read these, and you guys can fact check them for me if you want to. Okay,
Sounds
and then
good.
we can hop on here.
Absolutely. So, real quick, Gears Golf, before you do that, Gears Golf gifted a tier 1 sub to Snorlax Owns. Snorlax Owns makes you say thanks. And Chancho gifted a tier 1 sub to our brand new friend, SHNNH, who just hit the follow button. That's great.
Nice.
Welcome.
Very good. Very good. 6 facts about all 3 vaccines. Now, I'm not going to claim these as facts because I'm not a doctor. But if you would like to fact check these, you're more than welcome to. None are FDA approved. All are considered experimental. None have completed initial research trials. All were allowed to skip animal trials. None will complete a research trial for 2 to 3 years. All are free of liability, even if one kills you.
That's the scariest one for me. That's the scary. The last one is the scariest one, right? The FDA, there's a lot of things the FDA doesn't approve that should be approved. Like, to be totally transparent on that, there's a lot of drugs that the FDA will not approve that have done wonders in other countries. That's why people go to other places to have medical work done, because the FDA, you know, something happened along the way where FDA didn't want to approve that. It may, you know, it's all a big political thing. You know, it's moving shells around to make sure this country, this company's happy and blah, 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 you know. I mean, let's just be real about it. But the last one, the idea that there's amnesty behind the idea of, look, you can take this vaccine, and if you die, it's nobody's fault but your own.
That's been going on since the 80s for all vaccines. No liability. You cannot sue a vaccine manufacturer if something goes wrong.
That's really scary to me. Like, I feel very vulnerable talking about this. Just this whole idea, like, this time in my entire life, I feel more vulnerable about this stupid idea of having to present some sort of card, some sort of passport to say, look, okay, you're okay now, you know?
Yeah. Oh, you're one of them. Like, it's another way in the midst of all of our 2020, who's a racist and who's a bigot and who's a homophobe. Let's just toss in an ID card so you know that you're also one of them and you're not one of them. We just need to really label and identify ourselves really bad.
The Mike Maverick came in with 100 bits, says there's a woman who's going around talking about the vaccine passport is the mark of the beast. It's ridiculous. The Mike Maverick, appreciate that. You know, it is. I'll say this. It is. You know, I understand what she's saying as far as the mark of the beast, right? The idea that maybe the mark of the beast isn't the right way to say it, but we talked about the idea of there was a time where people couldn't go through a country without presenting their papers, to go to certain things. And I think without seeing what the lady said, that sounds like a better comparison to what she's talking about. Obviously, the mark of the beast of, the idea of a passport. But I appreciate your input on that, Mike, for sure. Chancho with 100 bits says, that is a risk I'm willing to take, Brad. You not taking a risk is you not taking is a risk you're willing to take. Isn't freedom great? Chancho, love that. You're 100% right. 100% right. Yeah,
absolutely.
And I think that's probably my biggest thing is I just want the freedom to decide. And if I have to show my vaccine passport to go to Chili's, that doesn't sound very fun to me. It seems like overreaching a little bit. And I think that you'll also see in the event that certain states, I know Florida has already said there will, DeSantis, the governor over there, he's been very open. He said, I will not have any sort of vaccine passport in my state. I will fight it. And that's reassuring. I wonder if Texas is going to do something similar. Now, I haven't heard anything about that from Governor Abbott, but be interesting for sure.
Yeah, for sure.
Zim gifted out 5 subs. Zim gifted a sub to Kabuba, Stevie, Big Sal, the Mike Maverick, who just used those 100 bits, and Maxaba XO. Hey, guys, thank you very much for popping in. Really appreciate that. And XTeat. Oh, thanks so much for the follow. Appreciate that. Yeah, man.
What's funny is you're like, gosh, if I've got to present my ID at Chili's to go and eat. I've been putting together this person caught list, right, over the last couple of weeks on our show. And the funny thing is when we talk about limiting ourselves due to all these restrictions, like if I decide not to get the vaccine, do you know what that means for me? I don't get to go to Chili's and eat their fried, greasy food and overpriced meals. I don't get to spend $250 on a concert ticket. Like all these luxury, self-indulging things that we do. It's kind of like, well, you know what? I'll just have more time to myself and a lot more money.
Jack Carlos says,
be a little healthier.
Chili's has the freedom to deny you if you don't have a vaccine. They're a company, their choice. Hey, totally get it. Totally get it. But what about when the vaccine doesn't work for the next strain of COVID? Right? Let's just say COVID is like the flu, and every year the flu has a different iteration, and there's the next, we've seen.
Well, they've already said that that's going to happen.
Of course it will. Like I said, COVID is not going anywhere. So do you need to get your COVID vaccine updated every time there's a new variant? Yeah, I mean, it's their company, their choice.
That's exactly what I was saying earlier. What's so nefarious about the 2 shots? Well, it might not seem like that now, but when the next strain comes out and they require a new one, a new 2 or 3 every year, then, that's on you. If you want to do that, that's fine. But there's a lot of people out there that aren't on that train.
Dajbu says, Jesus, chat is toxic. I actually don't think this chat is toxic at all, Dajbu. I think that we have a very, very civil chat happening in there. And now it may not disagree. It may not agree with the way you think, but that's the point of having this channel in its entirety, is the idea allowing people to have conversations. I don't think this chat has been I've been watching it literally the entire time to making sure things have been civil. And there's not been one civil thing that is, one uncivil thing that has been said. It's just been people having a conversation. This channel may not be for you if that's the case, if you don't like to have conversation about things. So
they don't. I'm reading things I don't want to think about.
That's why we have moderators here. Moderators are here to keep track of them. Great moderators.
We don't have fist fights going on in the chat. Kirsten says non-vaccinated people have to eat at Applebee's.
Hey,
they have to go to Applebee's.
America's favorite neighbor. Let's go with that. Let's go. Love that. Invader says, my aunt says she won't get the vaccine. She doesn't get any vaccine because they all make her sick. And going back to what Chancho said, just having the opportunity to pick is important. The idea to decide for yourself. I think that's probably my biggest concern for sure. So.
You want to know a funny conversation that's going to happen in the next year?
Yes.
based on the chat right now. You're going to meet somebody and you can be like, hey, how's it going? And the big question to ask each other is, do you eat at Chili's or do you eat at Applebee's?
Are you Applebee's or Chili's?
Do you eat at Chili's? Or do you eat at Applebee's? I eat at Applebee's. All right. It's gonna be, okay. You eat at Chili's. All right. I can talk to you.
Griff has a good question. It says, would you trade a vaccine passport to get rid of masks for good?
That's been the funny thing. I've mentioned this story on the show a few times. My wife and I had this conversation that there's been a group of people that have been there's what you might call, some people call them anti-maskers, and then you've got the maskers, and we've seen this over the course of the last year. The maskers have shamed the anti-maskers. Shame on you, you selfish a-hole. You're killing people. Well, the maskers will upgrade into the vacciners, and the anti-maskers will be like, well, I don't want to get the vaccine. So they'll upgrade and finally join the maskers club. And then the vacciners will be like, you didn't get the vaccine. You're a selfish a-hole and you're killing people just wearing your mask. And it's just going to be this elitist, like, stair stepping into how much do you really care about everybody?
Right. Well, I mean, everyone always has their hill they want to die on, which is amazing. I got to be honest, I can only speak from my personal experiences with that question. The idea of, would you get a COVID vaccine passport in exchange for getting rid of masks? In Texas, there's no mask mandate anymore. Obviously, private businesses, there was a kind of a local viral thing where there was a restaurant up in Denton that was going to do surcharges. Did you see this? If you came in without a mask, they were going to charge you $75 on top of your bill as a surcharge. You came in without a mask, and then $100 if you gave them crap or something. And it's like no way that you can actually charge that. It was more like a marketing thing. But it'll be very interesting to see how long that business stays in business. They had the little publicity, and ultimately the consumer will decide how the business operates. If Target goes in and they see that Walmart says, hey, you don't have to wear a mask to go in our store. And then 10% of Target Target drops 10% in sales compared to the local Walmart, and they see a little boost. And all of a sudden, all these people who don't want to wear masks, Target's going to go, oh, shit. I mean, you got to remember, it was not that long ago that not everybody wore masks in the world.
Right.
It was not that long ago at all. So
yeah, and you gotta like, I observe at a distance. I look at what the big companies are doing, right? And you're talking about the NFL opening up. We're talking about baseball starting up. I'm like, if it's so dang serious, why are you opening up? Oh, because you need to make money, right? There's money to be made in coronavirus world right now. If you're a mask producer, you don't want these sales to slow down. Are you kidding me? There's money to be made. Keep telling people they got to wear 2 now. 3 is better. Let's triple our sales. So it's hard to follow it. You look, but you're right. Who said? Somebody had just said, it was like, much respect. I'm getting the vaccine for myself. I don't care about you all. And you know what? Honestly, that's the way to go about it. Do what you got to do with the best the best knowledge you've put together over the last year. But don't go attacking anybody because they're making a different decision, because we've all had a different experience.
Right. There's a few things here. By the way, Mike came in with the super chat and says, heard about the 65-year-old Asian woman who got attacked. There have been several. Obviously the hashtag of Stop Asian Hate has been a big thing. And there have been several attacks on just random Asian people, from people who have all walks of life. The idea of black guys and attacking and white guys attacking, and like just it doesn't matter. Just people, and it's insane and it's stupid and it's crazy to think about. But Bomb came in with the super chat, the $9.99, says, what happened to we can agree to disagree? Now every time someone hears something they disagree with, then they are toxic and should be banned and canceled. There's no civility anymore. Right. And it's fascinating to hear the term racist. You're racist thrown out. Like at this point, the idea of being called racist is legitimately it's a joke right now. It's comically funny. At a certain point when, about a year ago, when people were like, you're racist, you're like, oh God, what? At first but it's been so overused and so overdone that it legitimately, it's pathetic at this point. It's such a trope, such a stereotype, and it's crazy. Like it's laughable. It's comical. So yeah.
Yeah, nobody in their right mind that is being called a racist right now is even taking it seriously. For the first time ever this year, since we started this show, I've been called the R word a few times, and I'll admit the first time you're like, whoa, hey, no, excuse me. That's very rude of you. But then after the 10th or 11th time, you go, oh, I see what's going on here. It doesn't matter what I do or what I've done in my life. I just am, because that's a you problem.
Right.
So, yeah.
Real quick, I want to. This is a question I actually wanted to pop before I wanted to hit before I. Well, I'm trying to do a little research on the fly as I'm looking at this. Hold on, I want to make sure I get this. Okay, here we go. So this is a question from Stephen Schilling. Says, didn't you guys already have every other vaccine, mumps, rubella, measles, with no problems? Did you have a problem with not being allowed in public schools without those vaccines? Stephen, we kind of touched on that a little bit, of the idea of making decisions for children. Also, I'd like to kind of touch about each one of those diseases that you mentioned. The mumps death rate is between 2 and 4 people per 10,000. So that death rate is considerably higher than COVID. Rubella death rate is about, it's crazy, rubella. Developing countries can be between 3 and 6%. In first world countries, it's very, 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 very low, less than 0.1%. And measles, the death rate is between 1 and 2%. So I'm sorry, 1 or 2 out of 1,000, which is a very low death rate still with measles. So, did we have, well, honestly, Stephen, we didn't make that decision. And I'd also like to think that the vaccines for those things were developed a little bit more attached to those things. So,
well, also you got to consider, this is touching on outside of the COVID vaccine talk, but like when we were kids, what did we get? Like 6 vaccines? We got a handful.
I've talked about this before. And this was the saddest thing to me. I will never forget this. Being in the delivery room and Mackenzie, my now 9-year-old, being delivered, and within 20 seconds, of her being delivered, they had jabbed her with something. And it's like just thinking, like I'm sad thinking about that, because I remember, I remember thinking like, she's not pure anymore. Like I don't even know what they put in her.
Yeah, it's crazy. Any parent that goes through that, you're in that situation. It's crazy. It's hectic. You've signed a bunch of papers. There's people coming in, they're poking your kid with this and that and the other. And then I remember our oldest, when he was born, he got it was like a weird commemorative necklace. He had got a bead on this little bracelet piece of yarn for every shot that he got while he was there. And I was like, what a weird thing to do. To be like, you get this commemorative little bead bracelet to show how many times you got jabbed while you're here. Yeah, it's just crazy. It's just we don't even know what is going on. That's the problem.
Real quick, Utter Destruction came in over on Twitch with a brand new tier 1 sub. Brand new Utter Destruction. Thank you so much. That is outstanding, encouraging conversation. And I really appreciate you popping in. Thank you very much for that. It means a lot. That is awesome. That's a great way to support the show for sure.
Yeah.
Health Warrior says, was talking about the things that are put in. It says Hep B, 250 micrograms of aluminum.
Mm-hmm.
So that was shot into my child.
Hep B, 250 micrograms of aluminum. Also, they came back and said FDA the safe daily amount is 25 micrograms. That's the FDA approved daily amount. Is 25 micrograms.
It legitimately, when I think about that, it makes me sad. I remember, I mean, I can see it right now. And I remember God, I just remember it hurts. I don't even want to talk about it. It just hurts me thinking about it.
Yeah.
It's crazy. Came in, says, honestly, I feel like child vaccines compared to COVID vaccines is apples to oranges. We have the data to show childhood vaccines make a difference. I think there's a lot to that statement. You know, it comes down to data, and we've learned a lot about this disease in the last year. What we don't know a whole lot about the vaccine from the last 3 months, 4 months. So the idea of being required and then having a passport attached to this, this required thing is it's scary. It's intimidating for sure. I appreciate the input. Say says also not anti-vaxxer, but it's medically irresponsible to throw out the risk reward on the individual basis of patients and also respecting their privacy. Hate to say it, but it's literally fascism. That's the other thing that you hear all the time. You're fascist. You're fascist. You're fascist.
Or you're
that's
anti.
Like that it's like that's you might as well call me racist. Like, come on, you just get you ruined all the meaning of it, you idiot. So
yeah, the whole fascism thing, or the anti this and anti that moniker we keep giving. You're anti-vax because, like, I know a lot of people who know a lot about vaccines who have put the hours into studying about vaccinations, and they're not for vaccines. It's not, but it doesn't mean that they're anti-vax.
Right.
It just means that they put the time and the effort into study and understand them. And just because they don't want them for their family, or they've made the decision after all the effort they put into it, it doesn't mean they're anti. And that's another like trope that I think is so overused right now that we've got to get away from. This idea that we've got to label everybody. You're either pro or you're anti.
Right.
So pick a side. No, I'm just thinking about things.
Dajibu says, if vaccines were a donut or in donut form, it'd be a lot more responsible or a lot more enjoyable. The irony of your statement, is insane, considering that if you are to get your vaccine.
What do you get, Craig? What do you get from the donut place?
You get a year full of donuts from our favorite place in the world, Krispy Kreme. Taken from the all-inclusive, non-discriminatory list of things Brad will be temporarily not be purchasing list, formerly known as a boycott. Krispy Kreme allowing 1 year of free donuts, which is outstanding. Ready to go. Aaron, I see you in the queue. I'm going to come to you in just a second. Aaron has popped in. Greatly appreciate that. Zim has gifted a tier 1 sub to Matonius. That is outstanding. And Aaron J and Churchill Ramirez, thank you guys so much for the subscriptions over on YouTube. Make sure you guys say hi if you guys are in the chat. It's crazy. Let's say hi to Aaron. Let's talk to Aaron real quick. This is great. Hello, Aaron. How are you, man?
Howdy, folks.
Hey.
How's it going?
Can you hear me?
I can. I hear you. You sound great. You look even better.
Oh, well, thank you. I was going to get all prepared for this and look shiny and handsome, but it doesn't look like I'm going to live up to those standards today.
Get out of here. We got the best looking audience on the internet.
Oh, well, thank you so much. Well, God darn it.
Talk to me.
I'm not used to face cams. I'm definitely not for them.
You just talk to us. So what's going on, Aaron? What's on your mind?
Thank you kindly. Unfortunately, it's really not based around COVID at the moment because I really wanted to chat to Brad.
Oh, okay.
Craig mentioned this earlier in the week, I believe, on one of the podcasts, and it was all about your song, Brad. It was the first verse. Life is hard and you can't give up.
Oh, this is Aaron.
This is Aaron Lang.
Yeah, how you doing,
sorry.
buddy?
I'm sorry. I'm sorry. I'm so excited you're here. I'm so excited. This is great.
Yeah.
Okay. I feel okay, guys. Real quick background here. Aaron, well, I don't want to speak for you. Aaron, you tell.
No,
everybody.
go ahead, Craig. Give him the background. I'm not a good.
So Aaron came into the chat while I was streaming over at twitch.tv/CraigSkid. Aaron came in and long and short of it told us that over the weekend he nearly died from an allergic reaction from some new medication that he was taking. And he spent three days in the hospital. And it was the theme song of our show. The first line in particular, "Life is hard, but you can't get up," kept him going. So Aaron, please, the floor is yours.
Yes, sir. And I'll be calling y'all sir. I'm sorry. I'm in my 30s, but it's just drilled in my brain.
Respect your elders.
All right.
Damn right. And yeah, well, I really don't want to make this sound too dramatic and be looking for sympathy here. That's not my goal at all. But yeah, I had to try a new medication due to my neurologist, and I have refractory epilepsy, was born with it. And I got the wrong flip of the coin when I was around 17, and I developed an autoimmune disease, which made the epilepsy worse. So at a point in my life, I was having around 40 seizures a month. And so they've been trying all these new medications. And recently, now I only have 5 seizures a month. So that's very convenient. But unfortunately, the new one they put me on decided to take my blood pressure down to 68/30 and put me in some really bad seizures. So I ended up in the hospital, Mayo Clinic here in Jacksonville. And I literally couldn't move my body like the next day. And the only thing I could move was my neck. And it's kind of funny, you know, you're certainly an athlete, Craig. I'm not sure about you, Brad. I haven't heard much about your back. So you know what it's like to feel fatigued, for your body, all your muscles just to be kind of like dead. You have those days after a good workout. That's what my body felt like, and it was like impossible to move. So in the back of my head, for some reason, instinctually, it just came to me that, you know, life is hard, Aaron. You can't give up. You just can't give up. Just keep pushing. And ever since I got out of there, the hospital, I still feel like grade A baloney, but I've been a lot more optimistic and a lot more open-minded about things. And I honestly just have to thank you, both of you. As small as the community may be and the podcast and everything, I love what you guys do. It really, tonight I went out and I had dinner with some old friends from BJJ and Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu. By the way, I guess it's not politically correct to do Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu since I'm not Brazilian.
You can't
say it anymore.
Aaron.
Yeah, I'm getting in trouble here. But yeah, I had a conversation with a black gentleman and we just talked. We didn't yell at each other. We just talked about our different opinions, and it was a wonderful experience. And I used y'all. I didn't literally y'all as an example, but I said, I'm glad we can have a conversation here rather than just stare at each other like we want to kill one another. I don't know if tonight is a good time to do it because I got the Patreon message rather late. I was literally about to get in bed because I'm over here on the East Coast. And but I did have a couple, one topic in particular I wanted to get into.
Well, how about we say that? Can we say that for tomorrow night, Aaron?
I think that's the ideal thing to do, probably, because I know it looks like you guys have been online for a while now.
Well, let's do that tomorrow. Let's save it for tomorrow night, and we'll have you first up tomorrow. Does that sound good?
So are we? I thought it was originally Thursday night.
So well, usually yes, our call-in show is going to be on Thursday nights, but tonight was kind of a hot topic, so we wanted to open it up to let people talk about the idea of the COVID passport and let them express their feelings and thoughts. So that is why I was out there.
Lovely topic. And my topic will be on the government's healthcare system because I have a lot of experience in it. So it's going to be lovely.
Well, we'll be discussing that tomorrow. So we look forward to talking to you tomorrow night then, Aaron.
And thank you. Once again, thank you guys so much.
Oh, yeah.
Legends, community. I know I don't chat a lot. I'm a pretty shy guy, but I am trying to get a lot more socialized with you. So I appreciate all the feedback I get from all.
Maybe shy, but certainly handsome. Let's go.
Let's
go.
All right.
All right. Aaron, hey, we'll talk to you tomorrow night, man. Thank you so much.
Thanks so much, Aaron. That means the world to me. Thank you.
No problem, Brad. Thank you so much.
I'm glad you're doing well. I'm glad you're doing better.
The fact that
you helped.
Dinner. That's crazy. All right, Aaron, we'll talk to you tomorrow. Oh, I feel bad. I cut him off. Oh man, what a
didn't mean to.
That's amazing. That's amazing. Wow, that is awesome stuff. Just for the record, this is what he was speaking of.
Life is hard, but you can't give up.
There it is. That's it. Just
that
that
is
simple
so
line.
Fantastic. Like that song, you know, I mentioned this the other night. It was just it's just a fun little project I wanted to throw together. And it's funny how that sort of has helped guide the show. The more we talk and have these conversations, and it's just nice. You said it the other night, Craig, if this show has served any purpose, if that song has served any purpose, there it is right there. Aaron, buddy, bless you, brother. Thank you for coming on the show. Even though you're shy, we appreciate it. And we look forward to talking to you again.
For sure.
Real soon. So glad you're doing better.
Let's continue the conversation. Shit, we've been going for 80 minutes already. Oh my gosh. Real quick, Chancho, once again, I think it's important to reiterate the fact that Chancho doesn't agree with us on these things, with a lot of these things, but we're still able to have this. And I think that's so wonderful. And you don't find this type of conversation anywhere online, right? You find things that are slanted a certain way. You think this way, so we're going to get the groupthink, and that is what we're trying not to do. Now, those who disagree will come in times, and they'll say, "Well, you only talk about things that whatever," but they don't listen. They only hear things they want to hear. So Chancho came in and says, "So how long until the government mandated diet?" How long until we have a government mandated diet and exercise routine? Because 600,000 people die a year due to obesity, right? I think there's.
Where has it been?
Well, when you think about the reasons why people die in the United States, right? Obesity, heart disease. Diet is like the number one thing. The food that we intake in our body. And then on top of that, tobacco products. Once again, another 500,000 people die a year from tobacco use. And that has been going on for decades. And there's been, it's like, they put a tax on big tobacco, on tobacco products. Okay. Or they could just, go ahead.
Somebody, how you say fitness passport? Could you imagine a fitness passport? You can't come in here unless we know that you work out 3 times a week and you eat, a good, hearty, healthy diet and not Krispy Kreme donuts. Could you imagine if they flip the script like that? Fantastic idea.
Absolutely. Yes, I will, Indy, I will get Calm modded for sure. I will get him modded in just a little bit for sure. I mean, that is insane to think about. And I think for me, that's we use the term slippery slope all the time. And that for me is the rawest thought on all this, is the slippery slope of, okay, well, this was allowed. So why not this? And it goes back to the give an inch, take a mile, but it's 1 inch at a time. You can have all these freedoms right now, but we're just going to slowly glance and take this away. And then, since you're okay with that, we'll go here. And by the time you look back, you go like, whoa, what happened? What happened here?
Yeah.
So
no, that's exactly what the point of my conversation was about. What's so nefarious about having to carry an ID card around? Like, look back at the last year. First, it was just, hey, look, 2 weeks to slow the spread. Okay, everybody, We got what we got, whether you like it or not. That was probably the best America was going to do. And, you know, and then it was, look, we gotta shut down your business. And then look, we got to start wearing these, and on and on and on, just like you're saying. And now we look back and now it's like, okay, now we're at the point where you got to have the vaccine card.
By the way, people talking about the idea of a fitness passport, and Mike brings up the idea that they have similar restrictions related to soda, right? Soda is the worst thing you could possibly put in your body. It's just like dumping sugar in your body, which sugar is the worst thing you can put in your body. Please don't do it. And Sweet Sweet Gamer says the difference is that not exercising only affects you, not others. Tell that to my insurance rates and the taxes I pay. If you think that the way you treat yourself and the way that people overeat and treat their bodies only affects them, that's a bunch of bullshit.
Yeah, that's not true. That can't be
true at all.
true. I mean, like, think about let's just take smoking as a small example. A dad that grows having a parent that smokes around you as a kid a whole bunch, you know, likely affects your health because you grow up thinking that that's what you should do. You know, how many kids grow up smoking because their parents did it? That's just a small example of it. You might not see, you know, right now we're all focused on passing something to somebody, but we're not thinking about other ways that you influence each other. Seeing a strong physique or a healthy physique, you know, usually motivates people to go, you know what, maybe I should get up and get a little more healthy. You know, it does affect us mentally, I think, just as much.
Stephen Schilling says so comparing COVID vaccine to the measles vaccine is apples to oranges, but comparing COVID to diet is a good comparison. Diet isn't contagious, for one thing. Once again, Stephen, we're not comparing those things. We're just talking about strictly a hypothetical. The idea of a.
I'm just interested in the idea of the government going like, look, instead of Krispy Kreme donuts in this vaccine and rewarding you for that, let's start rewarding people for really taking care of their body, not just subsiding what's happening to their body and masking it, you know, but actually rewarding people. Imagine like Bill Vilter had said, it's called a gym membership. No, because you can't take your gym membership and show it for a discount for concert tickets, you know, or whatever. Which is where this vaccine passport idea seems to be going, is that, you know, you can't even get into a certain event unless you have the vaccine passport.
Right.
So,
well, I'll tell you what, this has been a really good conversation, and I'm glad that we've had people in our chat that don't agree or have contrasting views. Once again, it's the entire point of the show. Tomorrow night is going to be our call-in show. We're going to be talking about whatever we want to talk about from the past week. We're going to open it up, allow you guys to do it. Once again, you can become members of Patreon, have first opportunity for the call-in link. So over at patreon.com/CraigSkits, you can become a patron for as little as $1 a month. If you just pop on over there, and you can support the show in that way. And that goes such a big way in going. We're at actually a record number of patrons right now, which is so great. So let's continue to grow. Jack Carlos followed over on Twitch, which is great, man. Brandon real quick says, I want to make sure I get this in. Where are you, Brandon? He says, when you get a life insurance policy, if you're more fit, your rates will be better. Right. There's 100%, a lot of truth in that for sure. But yes, this is a really good conversation to have. And for me, this is a conversation that makes me very anxious. It's scary for me. I don't like talking about it because it legitimately scares me. And I fear the overstepping that is happening right now. The idea that you're mandated, the mandate of having some sort of COVID passport, and where that could potentially lead. Just do it so we can all get back to normal. And I would just like to go back to, once again, the idea of just do it, because the sooner you do it, we'll all get back to normal. Here's the worldwide number of vaccinations that have taken place I'd just like to go back to this one more time. Here's the worldwide vaccinations as of yesterday. 4% of the world have received one vaccination. Less than 2% have received full vaccination.
Mm-hmm.
So if you're waiting for things to, quote, get back to normal, good luck. Good luck. Mike came in with 100 bits. Thank you so much, Mike. Says, the short of this discussion is this. This passport sets a bad precedent, and COVID could set the stage for more things to follow by using this individual case as an excuse to pass other things down our throats. I think that's a good way of saying it. The idea of it sets a dangerous precedent moving ahead. And that's scary to me, for sure.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
Cool.
Yeah. You got who's saying that? You gotta make things go back to normal. You gotta live your life as normal as you can right now and just keep pushing forward for sure.
Yeah, it's scary stuff. So
yeah.
All right. Well, I'll tell you what, it's scary. We're living in a scary time, but we're gonna get through this together. Regardless of how you guys agree with it, disagree with it, or whatever. And we want to continue the conversation every single night. So join us here on twitch.tv/CraigSkits and youtube.com/CraigSkits around 8:30, Sunday through Thursday for the live show. Once again, live call-in show tomorrow night for our patrons, which will be broadcast live. You'll be able to find me once again tomorrow. Tomorrow's a big day as well because at the end of our show, I'll be streaming Mario 35 till they shut the servers down because the game is going away. So hopefully you guys stick around and come join me over there. If you haven't followed me over at twitch.tv/CraigSkits, I encourage you to do it. I stream in the morning at 9 a.m. So you find me generally at 9 a.m. and 9 p.m. on the internet. And I just do a lot of other stuff in between there. So, Brad, you got anything else before we wrap up?
Life is hard, but you can't give up.
Let's have a conversation. See you guys later. Hey, do me a favor. Last thing, thumbs up, subscribe, share. Do all the YouTube crap you need to do.